this Grand National Sedan Series tonight. Johnny Day moves infield and lets the drivers get underway. First man out, the local hero, number 3, Barry Blake. Right behind him there will be Benny Ludlow, followed by that beautiful XJ12 Jaguar, number 38 of Phil Myers. From the back of the field, we can see the captain of the USA Pizza Hut sedan car racing team there, Big Ed Wilbur, moving through into 5th place. The event to be held over 6 laps. They come off turn number 4 for the first time. 1 down and 5 to go. Barry Blake leading well from Ben Ludlow, back to Phil Myers, then to Colin Harper. Big Ed Wilbur there, a little bit out of shape, gets the car lined up and fires it off turn number 3 once again. They come down the back straight away. Barry Blake, Ben Ludlow clearing out from the field at this stage. About 20 metres then back to Phil Myers. He's followed through by Colin Harper, Big Ed Wilbur, and then back to Terry Haynes. Well, good racing and wheel-to-wheel racing here coming from the West Australian boys, because Barry Blake and Ben Ludlow are playing it safe at the moment, just running 1 and 2. Back there in 3rd place, the number 38 car, that immaculately prepared XJS Jaguar, V12 motor in that car, driven by Phil Myers. And back to Colin Harper on the feature race here last week too, and is in fine form. Well, as they clear Pitts Bend and come off turn number 4 once again, straighten up for the run down the main straightaway. Barry Blake taking things very steady, keeping the car nice and low right on the concrete curb. Right behind him, looking for a way by, is Ben Ludlow. Then it's still back to Phil Myers. Colin Harper, Big Ed Wilbur can't make any ground on the 4 cars in front of him. Well, Barry Blake very determined to do well tonight, and after the drubbing that the local boys received here in the 1980-81 season, when the USA team certainly dealt them a very severe blow, because they won by a big margin over the point scoring series, and the local boys are very determined to see if they can reverse that situation tonight. Well, Barry Blake and Ben Ludlow just running 1 and 2, and not a very fast time that they're pulling at this stage. I think they're playing it safe. Phil Myers back there in 3rd place, starting to get the XJS Jaguar sorted right out. Yellow flag out, and that's 1 lap to go. Barry Blake out there in front, looking pretty good. These 2 drivers started off from the front of the field too, and that's where they've stayed. Looking very, very good out there, Barry Blake. Benny Ludlow still then back to Phil Myers. Colin Harper, smoke starting to come from the back of the Big Ed Wilbur car. As they come off the final turn, Barry Blake goes through to take out the sedan car Heat 1 in the Coates Hire Service Sedan Grand National Series from Ben Ludlow, with 3rd place going to car number 38, Phil Flyers Myers. Okay, all set now for Heat 2 of the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge, and green lights on and the car's away. Laurie Hardy, number 34, first man out there, followed through by John Carty, then back to Big Doug McPherson. Representing the USA in this particular heat is the man that they call the greatest sedan car driver in the world in speedway circles, rocketing Rodney Combs, back there in about 6th place at this stage, got the job right in front of him. Laurie Hardy in the Chevy Monza, looking pretty good at this point in time, come down the main straightaway, 5 laps in front of him, left to go. Johnny Carty back there in 2nd, followed through by Big Doug McPherson, and back to Merv Robinson, number 11. Number 19 back there in 5th place is Trevor Henderson. He's followed through by Rodney Combs. That's the way they clear the back straightaway, and 8 big hits in the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge tonight. The top 2 point scorers from the USA and the top 2 point scorers from the local contingent of sedan cars will compete the special Champagne Dash race a little later on, and what a race that promises to be. We see Heat 2 being led by Laurie Hardy. Then it's back to Johnny Carty, Big Doug McPherson in there, and Rodney Combs still biding his time, taking things pretty steady as he takes the big high run right round the outside. He's certainly sick of sticking back that far in the field. He wants to get right on with the job, and can't quite pick up a place there as he gets to the bottom of the main straightaway once again, and he sets that beautifully prepared Chevy Camaro high on the track, comes off turn number 3 once again. On the back straightaway they go, but look at this fellow out in front. Laurie Hardy, number 34, is just absolutely streaking away from the field. Got that beautiful little Chevy Monza sitting perfect on the track, handling like a dream. And it's back to a new identical car, number 60, driven by John Carty in 3rd place. Looks like number 11 there, that'll be Merv Robinson, followed through by Doug McPherson. And back to Trevor Henderson, Rodney Combs, and Des Alfirovich. Well, as they clear Pitts Bend once again, the rest of the drivers got no answer for the brilliant form being displayed out there at the moment by number 34, Laurie Hardy. But have a look at Rodney Combs. He gets underneath Doug McPherson now to move into 5th place. Still got his work cut right out in front of him as the laps start to tick by. Only a 6-lap event, the Heat 2 race for the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge. They come through pitch bend. Oh, I tell you what, Laurie Hardy getting very high on the track there. That cost him a little bit of ground. The checkered flag comes out, and a big win there to Laurie Hardy. Second place going to John Carty. The third place there going to number 11, Merv Robinson. Very fast race there from all those drivers in the Coates Hire Service Heat 2 Sedan Car Challenge. Set for the start now, Heat 3, Event 11. Heat 3 of the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge 2, and away they go. First man away there, number 21, Colin Harper, leading it from Terry Haynes and Phil Myers into that first turn. Out there doing battle for the USA. Looks like car number 4, and that'll be Mike Klein as Terry Haynes goes underneath, and here comes Mike Klein looking for a way underneath Phil Myers back. Followed through there by Benny Ludlow. Couldn't quite pick him up as he went around the outside of another car, but they come down the main straightaway, complete the first lap. It's Colin Harper leading from Phil Myers, and back to the number 4 USA car of Mike Klein, followed through by Ben Ludlow and Terry Haynes. Now on the back straightaway they go once again, and Colin Harper looking pretty good out there in front of Phil Myers, but can see the big threat coming from the USA driver there in Mike Klein. Running third at this point in time as they come down the main straightaway once again. Klein looking for a way underneath. A correction, sorry, that in actual fact is Johnny Pearson driving that particular car. Car's very similar, and couldn't quite pick that one out for the moment. Colin Harper in front, and look at Johnny Pearson trying to get underneath Phil Myers. That immaculate XJS Jaguar, but he's got his work cut out for him there, because out in front is the Bunbury driver looking pretty good too in his Chevy Camaro there, leading from Phil Myers, who's starting to move right up onto the back bumper of that car. Johnny Pearson looking for a way underneath Phil Myers now, and he changes lines, ducks down, goes up high, can't find the room to go on by. And all these drivers have got their problems, because Colin Harper, from the word go, has led it, and is looking very tidy out on the racetrack at the moment. If they're going to pass him, they're going to have to go right round the outside. Phil Myers, so he's got all the problems sorted out in that beautiful XJS Jaguar. Sitting back there in second place, just in front of Johnny Pearson. Here comes this tiny little car in comparison to the bigger American-style cars of Ben Ludlow, that big V8 Rambler Gremlin. Very small body, and by gee, doesn't it know how to work. Look at it there. You can see the flames coming out as he backs off. Gets on with the business now, and that little car sitting right behind, snapping at the wheels of the Johnny Pearson car as he slips underneath Phil Myers. Myers fights back on the outside. Won't be too much room there, as we can see Johnny Pearson gets second place away from Phil Myers. Top stuff from Johnny Pearson. He sets sail now for Colin Harper. Going to be right on too, because the laps have in actual fact they're gone through. I didn't see the lap come out. That was a good win indeed to Colin Harper. Johnny Pearson in second place, with third place going to Phil Myers. Heat 4 for the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge out there. John Carty, Laurie Hardy, Trevor Henderson, Merv Robinson, Doug McPherson, USA, number 3, Mike Klein. Green lights on as Johnny Day gets off the raceway and lets them get underway as Johnny Carty goes to the lead round the outside. Looks as though Laurie Hardy's trying to come through. Underneath Trevor Henderson comes the USA driver there. Number 3, Mike Klein, moves up into third place, looking pretty good too as they go into pitch bend. It's Laurie Hardy, who's already picked up one big win in the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge tonight. Comes down the main straightaway. 1 down and 5 to go. John Carty back in second. Mike Klein looking to get up there and challenge the two cars in front of him in Laurie Hardy and John Carty. Then back to Trevor Henderson, Merv Robinson, and big Doug McPherson at the rear of the field. Well, as they go through pitch bend, it looks like Laurie Hardy's going to continue in his race-winning form, as he showed in an earlier heat. Doing it pretty easy too, as he sets the car sideways down on the concrete curb. John Carty back there in second. Mike Klein, Noah, got the foot hard on the gas pedal, trying to get right up there. Can't seem to get the power to the track, but as good as what Laurie Hardy is, because he's starting to open up that gap even further in lap number 3. Johnny Carty still back there in second. Klein looks as though he might be starting to gain just a bit on Johnny Carty. Sets the car a little bit high, ducks it down, just about loses the model as he goes onto the grass. Gets back out on the raceway too. That cost him some very precious time around this big Claremont circuit. While all that's been going on, Laurie Hardy has just been leaving this field for dead. And by gee, has this driver come good right at the right time. Got a big 25-lap feature race coming up for the the Coach Hire Service Sedan Grand National race. John Carty in second place. There goes Mike Klein. The number 3 USA Chevy Camaro looking really in top form out there, but it looks as though he's having a little bit of problem with getting the traction down onto the race circuit. Yellow flag comes out for Laurie Hardy, number 34. Devastating form being shown by this very experienced driver out there leading the race at the moment and doing everything right. Back there in second, John Carty. There's the number 3 car of Mike Klein. Still can't get up there to challenge Carty for that second place. But the race leader comes off turn number 4, and a big win coming up for Laurie Hardy in that the heat 4 over 6 laps for the Coach Hire Service Sedan Challenge. John Carty finishing in second place with number 3 USA car there, driven by Mike Klein in third spot. Set for the start now of heat number 5 for the Coach Hire Service Sedan Challenge. We held over 6 laps. Set now for Heat 5, Coach Hire Service Sedan Challenge. Off the front turn they come and down the main straightaway and leading them away. The captain of the touring USA Sedan car team, number 1, Big Ed Wilbur, leads the 6 car field away. Right behind him is Merv Robinson, then back to Trevor Henderson, and number 34 there, Laurie Hardy, looking to come underneath there. Wasn't enough room, had to back off. Now he slips into third place. That's some fine racing more. Tell you what, Hardy in all sorts of bother there. Gets himself straightened out once again. Big Ed Wilbur, too, the captain of the USA Sedan car team, leading the race and looking pretty good. In front of Merv Robinson, then back to Trevor Henderson, Laurie Hardy, Ben Ludlow and Barry Blake. Well, Big Ed Wilbur starting to open up a fairly commanding lead already early in the piece with just 2 laps down and 4 to go in the 6-lap Sedan car challenge. Beautifully sounding cars, these American Chevs, and by gee, they certainly do everything right. Merv Robinson back in second place. Laurie Hardy, Ben Ludlow really pouring the pressure on towards the middle of the field there. Laurie Hardy into third place, Ben Ludlow up into fourth, and they're both behind Merv Robinson. About a 30-metre gap then behind Big Ed Wilbur, who has opened that lead up just a fraction again through the duration of the previous lap. Leads them through Foul House Corner now, and now Laurie Hardy challenges Merv Robinson for that second place. And looks as though he might pull it off going into turn number 3. Has to back off. Wasn't enough room for him to go underneath. Again, Wilbur doing it as he likes at this stage. He comes off turn number 4 and down the main straightaway once again. Merv Robinson still up there in second. Ben Ludlow straight round the outside of Laurie Hardy. Tries to move into third place. Hardy fights back underneath. And now Hardy challenges Merv Robinson for the second place. And oh, I tell you what, Ben Ludlow climbed the wall, luckily landed back on his wheels. The yellow flag comes out for the USA captain in Big Ed Wilbur. Looking pretty good. Just 1 lap to go to earn some big points here. Drivers determining their starting positions for the 25-lap Grand National race by earning points throughout the series of heat races. And Big Ed Wilbur looks like scoring the maximum in this one. Laurie Hardy back in second, followed through there by Merv Robinson and Barry Blake. They come off turn number 4 for the final time, and a great race put together there by Big Ed Wilbur to take it out from Laurie Hardy with Heat 6 of the Coach Hire Service Sedan Challenge. 6-lap event. And on the pole line up there, USA number 2, rocketing Rodney Combs too, as the green lights come on. Away they go, and Combs leads them away. Alan Nyler out there driving the turbocharged Cortina. Big Doug McPherson back there in third place, followed through by Johnny Carty, Trevor Henderson and Colin Harper. Look at Rodney Combs, by gee, already within 3/4 of a lap. He's got about a 20-metre lead up over Alan Nylander. Johnny Carty coming through on the inside of Doug McPherson to grab third place. Deal with lap number 1, 5 to go, and Rodney Combs, this absolutely brilliant sedan car driver from number 2 there, Rodney Combs, driving this immaculate USA sedan car. Number 2 is just absolutely streaking away from the field there. Back there in second place, we've got Alan Nylander, Johnny Carty in third, back to Doug McPherson, Terry Haynes and Colin Harper. I tell you what, the way that Combs is performing in this particular event, you can forget about the rest, because he's already opened up now the best part of 80 to 90 metres over Alan Nylander, then back to John Carty and Doug McPherson. You can see the gap there as Rodney Combs goes through a big gap back to the number 8 car, turbocharged 6-cylinder Ford Cortina, driven by Alan Nylander. Carty still in third place, and then back to Doug McPherson, Terry Haynes, Colin Harper. But Rodney Combs making an absolute mockery of the field in this one, because he's just about already inside 4 laps. Has got a half a lap lead. Incredible stuff. Sitting in the car there and going as quick as you like. Looks as though he's going for a Sunday afternoon drive. Alan Nylander and Johnny Carty still back in second and third as the yellow flag comes out. Well, that man on your screen now, Rodney Combs by GSE, doing everything right, and this is looking good for a great race later on in the program. And we have the big 25-lap Grand National race, Coates Hire Service race, and Johnny Carty comes back onto the field there, just about spun off the track and just about brought 2 cars undone. The checkered flag comes out for our race leader, Rodney Combs. Look at this. This is brilliant stuff coming from this very talented driver. He goes through to take out Heat 6 in the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge. We're waiting for our second place getter to come around. That'll give you an idea of the gap as the second place getter comes across the line now, and that went to Alan Nylander, I should say, and third place going to car number 13, Doug McPherson. Number 3, Barry Blake. And Heat 7 underway now, 6-lap event, 8-lap heat series for the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge, and this one being led away by Barry Blake. Right behind there, the USA team member number 3, Mike Klein. He's followed through by number 34. That's Laurie Hardy. Then back to Trevor Henderson and Merv Robinson. As they come off turn number 4 for the first time, all black flag being brought out for one driver there, and it might be the local boy, I think, Barry Blake, who was certainly taking his time to line up prior to the start of this event. He's leading it now from Mike Klein, then back to Laurie Hardy, Trevor Henderson and Merv Robinson. They get down to the bottom of the back straight away, and Mike Klein looking to get underneath Barry Blake. Room not there for him at that stage, that's for sure, because Barry Blake was keeping a very tight line as smoke billows out of the Barry Blake car, and that looks like a very, very expensive Henry's to the Barry Blake Chevy Corvette. And back with the race leader now, and there he is, number 3 from USA, Mike Klein, looking pretty good out there on the raceway at the moment. Here comes Laurie Hardy, looking to go right round the outside. Wasn't enough room for him. Duck tries to get underneath. This is top sedan car action here at the National Capital Speed tonight, Winville Claremont Speedway, as we see number 3, Mike Klein, leading from Laurie Hardy, who's keeping him right under the pump. A big gap back then to Trevor Henderson and Merv Robinson. We've seen Barry Blake head infield, which looked like a very expensive engine blow. They come now off turn number 4 and down the main straight away once again. It's Mike Klein, number 3 from the United States of America, leading from Laurie Hardy, then back to Trevor Henderson and Merv Robinson. That's the way they come off turn number 2 and down the back straight away once again. Into lap number 4 now, and just about to complete that lap. Yellow flag coming out now, and just 1 lap to go for Mike Klein, number 3, doing it well in front of number 34, Laurie Hardy, then back to Trevor Henderson and Merv Robinson. And the black flag being held out there for number 19. That was Trevor Henderson. Failed to see what he did, but he decides to pull up now. And Merv Robinson goes on by to get into third place. We see the race leader come off the turn number 4 for the final time, and a big win there. The USA number 3, Mike Klein first from number 34. Laurie Hardy, and third place in the event going to car number 11, driven by Merv Robinson. Underway now with heat number 8, the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge, and it's being led away there pretty well by Colin Harper, then back to Johnny Carty. Johnny Pearson out there driving car number 4 too, as Harper spins the Camaro right in front of the crowd, and also going around there was the USA competitor in Johnny Pearson. So Johnny Carty now takes over the race lead from Doug McPherson. Yellow lights come on, necessitate a restart for Heat 8, the Coates Hire Service Sedan Challenge. Set for the restart now as Johnny Day gets the drivers under starting orders too. Green lights on and away they go. Johnny Carty leading from Colin Harper, then back to Johnny Pearson, who's third into turn number 1 now, and he'll be setting the car high coming off turn number 2, looking for the run. Ducks down underneath Colin Harper now, and gets right in there too. Harper not having a bar of that. Closes the door on him as they come through pit spin. John Carty in the bright yellow Chevy Monza out there in front, closely followed there by Colin Harper, number 21 Chevy Camaro. back to the USA. Number 4 there. That's Johnny Pearson. Followed through by Doug McPherson, Terry Haynes and Alan Nylander. At the bottom of the back straight away they go once again into turn number 3. John Carty, Colin Harper and Johnny Pearson all very closely bunched together up down the front straight away, and Johnny Pearson certainly sitting there trying to work out the best way to attack these drivers to see if he can get around them. He's tried the high line, he's tried the low line, and nothing much has come off for him up till now, but now he sets the car very, very high, looks for that big run off the 4th turn there. Still not able to do much about it because a fairly smart pace being set out there by John Carty, followed there by Colin Harper, and now we can see Johnny Pearson looking to come underneath Colin Harper once again. Harper a little bit too tricky out there, but took about half track high, then threw the car sideways and just completely blocked the track from Johnny Pearson. He could not get through. There was nowhere near enough room. Well, still Johnny Pearson is trying all sorts of things. We see one car nearly into the fence there. Alan Nylander looks as though he must have lost his steering mechanism momentarily, and he decides to park it up by the fence out of harm's way. Yellow flag comes out for John Carty, or Harper goes high. Johnny Pearson looking for the way underneath, and he found it that time too. That was a good passing move from the USA driver. Colin Harper relegated to 3rd place, followed through there by Doug McPherson. Forget about the rest. John Carty out in front, and I think he's going to be able to go through to keep the flag flying high for the Western Australian contingent of cars out there. And through he comes. John Carty first, 2nd place there going to Johnny Pearson, with 3rd place to number 21, Colin Harper. Well, 10 laps of the car Division 2 race. Out on the raceway at the moment, under the starter's orders, Johnny Day. Back of the John Day push chute. Green lights come and go on, away they go, and first man away there was number 74, Gary Mason. Tony Gray in there in the Chrysler Centura. Looks like Jimmy Anderson getting through into 3rd place behind car number 50. That would have been, just trying to pick up who it was actually. I think it might have been Colin Ward in car 30. I'll pick them up next time round, but out in front, Gary Mason, number 74, looking pretty good too, as we can see one car up into the fence, one other car there spinning off the circuit. He's out of harm's way. Oh, it's Des King, the driver I was looking for, number 51. You can see Jimmy Anderson coming underneath him now too, and by geez, he's starting to apply the pressure, but just about comes undone, both those cars. An identical car, LR 5000 Tiranas out there looking pretty good, but Des King get into all sorts of bother going through Pitts Bend, and he's run into some sort of problem, pulled up by the fence. The race still being led by Gary Mason. Then it's back to number 61, that's Jimmy Anderson. Looking pretty good too there, followed through by car number 22, John Casson. Down 3rd place, you can see Ian Garricky there, number 47, back in about 4th, and followed through by the number 99 car, Dave Hammond, and that beautiful little Chev Corvette, very, very similar to the Barry Blake car. They come through once again, 10-lap event for Division 2 sedans. Out in front, Gary Mason. Jimmy Anderson back there in 2nd, followed through there by number 273. That's Maxie Pilmer, king of the demolition derbies, out there running 3rd, and pretty good at this stage, but he's being put right under a lot of press there by that number 40, it was, would have been the number 30 car of Colin Ward. Well, as they come off turn number 4 once again, Gary Mason is starting to stretch that lead on Jimmy Anderson, number 61. Looking pretty good there. Ian Garricky got the pressure right on number 78 car there. And got a driver listed in the program. Must have been a late addition to the program as they come off turn number 2 and down the back straight away. Gary Mason, number 74, looking surprisingly good too, because he's starting to leave this big field, and would be half a lap in front of the main bunch of the field. Jimmy Anderson in 2nd place, just about 20 metres further back, and Ian Garricky now, number 47's got right up there into 3rd place. Dave Hammond, number 99 Chevy Corvette, holding down 5th place in front of Dominic Bell Castro back there. Spin Thomason, number 17, going through, but here comes the race leader once again, number 74, Gary Mason, doing it very, very easy too on a superbly prepared track tonight, looking very, very flat, and nice covering of dirt on top, giving the drivers a fair bit of traction by the looks of it, and been some some pretty quick times turned in by all divisions racing here at the National Capital of Speed tonight, Winfield Claremont Speedway. Harry Mason coming around to complete yet another lap, leading it from car number 61 there, Jim Anderson, then back to number 47. That's Ian Garricky, and you can forget about the rest from here because these three fellas pretty well clear at this stage. There'd be about a 60-metre gap between first and second and third. The way they go down the back straight away, Gary Mason has set up a real comfortable lead there and has been able to maintain that lead over about the last 4 laps. Jimmy Anderson still back in second, followed through there by Ian Garricky, and the field now stretched or spread out right around the circuit. Ian Garricky closes the gap just a fraction on Jimmy Anderson. I'm sure he'd like to get up there and see if he could at least get second place. Jimmy Anderson would certainly have some different ideas about that if he knew that Ian Garricky was starting to move up on his tail. Gary Mason looking very, very safe as the yellow flag comes out. Just 1 lap to go for Gary Mason, and this the 10-lap Division 2 sedan car race. Jimmy Anderson again losing a bit of ground going through Foulhouse Corner. Ian Garricky right up now on the back bumper of that SLR 5000 out there and looking very, very good. The A9X Tirana actually, as the checkered flag comes out for car number 74. What a great drive being put together here by the number 74 car, and Ian Garricky, brilliant stuff on the last turn, comes underneath Jimmy Anderson, take out second place. Third place going to Jimmy Anderson, but a very good drive indeed to the eventual winner of the Division 2 race in Gary Mason. Underway now with the event 22, the Sedan Champagne Dash. Out there the 4 USA, the full contingent of the USA Sedan car team out there with them, the 2 highest point scorers for Western Australia that they earned during the 8 heat races, John Carty and Laurie Hardy. They come through in the race now being led by Johnny Pearson, then back to rocketing Rodney Combs. Big Ed Wilbur holding down third place in front of John Carty, then back to Laurie Hardy and Mike Klein. They go down the back straight away, and these USA visitors certainly showing why they are known as the top Speedway sedan car drivers in the world today, because they are in scintillating form. Out there in front is Johnny Pearson in front of Rodney Combs, who just about loops the model going through Foulhouse Corner. We're looking to get back onto the racetrack proper now. He does so just in front of Big Ed Wilbur. Then back to John Carty, Laurie Hardy and Mike Klein. Out in front, Johnny Pearson got a brilliant start. Co-Tire Service Sedan Challenge Champagne Dash, being led by Johnny Pearson. Back to Rodney Coombs, then through to Ed Wilbur, and the 2 local boys, John Carty and Laurie Hardy, who I don't think would have been too happy with the start that they got in this sedan car Champagne Dash. They come through Pitts Bend for the 4th time, 4 down and 1 to go. And Johnny Pearson looking pretty good out there at the moment in front of Rodney Combs, who just about loses the model going into Foulhouse Corner. Straightens it up, stands on the gas and rockets the car off turn number 2 and down the back straight away. But his teammate Johnny Pearson has done it well from go to woe, believe you me, as he comes off turn number 4 and goes through to take out the Co-Tire Service Sedan Challenge Champagne Dash from Rodney Combs in 2nd place, and 3rd place going to the captain of the USA team, Big Ed Wilbur. Leading this field of top class cars, very talented drivers out there. They've got a big job in front of them right now to complete 25 grueling laps for the 1982 Co-Tire Service Sedan Car Grand National event. All set and underway now, 25 grueling laps ahead of all the cars out of the raceway at the moment for the 1982 Co-Tire Service Grand National in order. A lot of biffing and banging going on through Foulhouse Corner. There's a couple of cars come together, but number 1 Big Ed Wilbur spins off the raceway and going on with the job now at the rear of the field. We can see Johnny Pearson, Mike Klein, Rodney Coombs already making his move. Gets past 2 cars now and sets sail for this big field of cars, about 20 cars in front of him. He has to negotiate his way around. Race being led at this stage by Spin Tomlinson in front of Ian Garricky, and back to Jimmy Anderson. You see Max Pilmer and then Dominic Bell Castro followed through there by number 34 Laurie Hardy. But already Rodney Coombs starting to make his presence felt One down and 24 grueling laps to go. Spin Tomlinson in front of number 47, Ian Garricky. In third place at this stage is Jimmy Anderson. Action aplenty at the rear of the field now, as we can see the American visitors trying to get right up there and mix it with the local fellas. There's your race leader, number 17, Spin Tomlinson, just in front of number 47, Ian Garricky. Then back to Jimmy Anderson. Those three cars locked together as they lead this very big field of cars off turn number 4 and down the main straightaway once again. Well, through comes number 34, Laurie Hardy. Goes round the outside of Max Pillman to move up into 5th position behind Dominic Belcastro. He's going through very, very fast and sets the car up by the picket fence to try and go right round the outside of Dominic Belcastro. There's beautifully tuned suspension as well in the number 34 Chevy Monza as he ducks underneath and heads off onto the grass, gets back onto the racetrack now. And we can see Merv Robinson just in front of Rodney Coombs there, who hasn't made as big a charge as one would expect at this early in the piece, because he can normally get straight up there, but there's a lot of laps to go and a lot of traffic to pass. Well, they come down the main straightaway once again. Positions unchanged. There's your race leader, Spin Tomlinson, in front of Ian Garricky. Then back to Jim Anderson. Laurie Hardy now up into 4th place, just ahead of Dominic Belcastro. Then back to number 13 there. That's Big Doug McPherson it is. He's in about 6th place, just in front of John Carty. This big field of cars now clears Pitts Bend once again. Look at this big run now coming from Laurie Hardy right round the outside from position 3. Up into the race lead he goes. And Laurie Hardy, an absolute dynamite form here tonight, goes to the lead of the 1982 Coates Hire Service Sedan car Grand National. About 5 laps down, about 20 to go as they come off turn number 4 once again, and the race being led by Laurie Hardy, and I would expect that he would be able to set up a pretty big lead here because he's well clear. There's a lot of traffic between him and all the American drivers who are trying everything they know, and there's cars going out left, right and centre. They go through Pitts Bend. Rodney Coombs on the grass. Couple of cars go on by as he had to slow down to miss a couple of the slower cars that were a little bit out of shape in front of him. Laurie Hardy, as I expected now, starting to set up a commanding lead. He's about 60 metres in front of Spin Tomlinson. 3rd place at this point in time, being held by Ian Garricky. Then back to Jimmy Anderson. And, two American cars spin off the track there. Number 3 was Johnny Pearson. Also, looks like it could have been Mike Klein, I think, also went infield. So 3 American cars out of the event, and that's a big blow to their chances. And they've got 1 car out there now that can fly the stars and stripes for him, and that's Rodney Coombs, too, rated as the finest Speedway Sedan car driver in the world today. But by gee, he's got about 200 to 300 metres now, 250 metres to pick up on Laurie Hardy. He's still down back there at about 6th or 7th position. As you can see, Rodney Coombs there now up onto the back bumper of Colin Harper. Sees Indian file going through there, and just about down to a stop as the yellow flag comes out. Yellow lights come on. This will necessitate a restart. Round they come, and the restart affected pretty well too, as Laurie Hardy leads them away in front of Spin Tomlinson and Ian Garricky. Here comes Coombs now looking for a way through. He's back in position number 6 at this stage. Goes round the outside of Colin Harper. Looks for a run round the outside of Doug McPherson and Jimmy Anderson. Sets this big car high up on the track. He's running about half track high. Cuts down to the concrete curb. And gains another position going down the main straightaway. So Rodney Coombs is now up into 4th place, and he starts to apply the pressure. Ian Garricky in front of him. Look at Coombs. Round the outside he goes where angels fear to tread. Brilliant stuff from the Rocket. Rodney Coombs moves up into 2nd place, and now we can see the tail of that number 34 Chevy Monza. Laurie Hardy out in front. There would only be about 35 to 40 metres in it at this stage. Rodney Coombs looking for that high run. He's found out where the quick part of the track is. Laurie Hardy will obviously be getting the signal to get going, because I tell you what, Rodney Coombs is starting to close the gap and close it pretty quickly. Off turn number 4 they come. Laurie Hardy and Rodney Coombs, you can see the gap being shortened up quite considerably throughout the duration of that lap. And the big crowd here now right behind the local boy Laurie Hardy, but Rodney Coombs has come from the clouds. This is brilliant stuff. Gets down low. Underneath he goes. Brilliant stuff from Rodney Combs. Absolutely unbelievable. He goes to the lead in front of the local boy, Laurie Hardy, who I don't think knew he was there and was being such a big threat so early in the piece. Bad luck for Laurie Hardy in one way, because he'd set up a very commanding lead before that restart. And of course, when the restart is affected, all the drivers must line up in Indian file, so any advantage he had was cut right back. But can't take anything away from this brilliant driver. Number 2 out there, USA number 2, Rodney Combs, now leads it by about 30 metres. The 1982 Coates Hire Service Sedan car Grand National leads it from Laurie Hardy. Back in 3rd place, a battle royal going on right back about half a lap behind Combs and Hardy is Colin Harper as he gets into 3rd place now. Behind Spin Tomlinson, in front of Spin Tomlinson, and back to Jim Anderson, Doug McPherson, Terry Haynes, all in there. But Rodney Combs now opens the lead up once again. He'd be about 120 metres in front of Laurie Hardy, and Laurie Hardy's car looks as though it's starting to slow to me just fractionally, and you can see Rodney Combs puts the hand outside the car as he gets the message from his captain, Big Ed Wilbur, who's on the infield, indicating to him that he's got a big lead and he's doing it easy. Well, number 34, Laurie Hardy, doing it well out there for the West Australian boys in 2nd place. And back to Colin Harper, holding down 3rd. Through comes the race leader now, and he's going to come up to start lapping the slower cars. This could present a little bit of a problem for Rodney Combs. He'd have to take things pretty steady so that he didn't, or so that he won't lose this lead that he set up over Laurie Hardy. He knows that he won't be too much further back there. Through he comes, the yellow flag comes out, and by gee, some quick times being turned in here by Rodney Combs, taking things easy. He's right behind Merv Robinson there, who's a lap down. Laurie Hardy still back there in 2nd place. Colin Harper got 3rd place locked away, but here comes the race leader on the final lap behind that slower bunch of cars, and Rodney Combs goes through as 2 cars. Oh, a big pile up there right at the finish, but just when that happened, that was a brilliant win there, going to Rodney Combs to take out the 1982 Coates Hire Service Sedan car Grand National. 2nd place would have gone to number 34, Laurie Hardy, and 3rd place would have gone to number 21, Colin Harper.